Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I get free. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Good morning. Welcome to the center.
Welcome to the center.
Good morning. We're here at the Center for Spiritual Living and we're having a potluck after service today. Come on down and join us. We would love it.
Tell me what the potluck is all about. What is that?
Well, the second Sunday of every month, people bring in their favorite dish and afterwards we get together and we eat. Camaraderie and joy. We spread the joy.
What you say? Okay.
So as we all get settled in our chairs, I invite everyone to relax. Get into a comfortable position and clear our minds as we all take our collective deep breath in and exhale out. Then another one. Another deep collective breath in, hold it, and let go. And let's take this moment, if it's also comfortable for you. Close your eyes. As we all move and stay in this sacred place, this sacred, peaceful, safest, innermost sanctuary of our being. Let's relax and go within, through and around the deepest part of our higher self, our one true source of life. I affirm, I'm a sacred place where heaven and earth become one. I surrender and trust this sacred place. I'm in divine partnership with my living spirit. I am calling God. My divine birthright is to claim my life right here in the center of my being. I am the center of life. As when passing through me, I become more definite, distinctive, uniquely individual. I am. I am the heart of peace. In challenging and in all time, love is served. As I'm speaking love, acting love, giving and feeling love, I know my way is made clear before me. I am the light myself. Today, I am filling myself with love, joy, peace, abundance, and happiness. And through it all, there will be running the silent power of spiritual energy supporting my thoughts and decisions and acceptances, always with ease and grace. Today, I am centering and living in the consciousness of my good, for my God, my spirit, my source is over all, in all, and as all. So as we contemplate and relax in this sacred space of consciousness, may I invite everyone again to take a deep collective breath of life in and let go. Just let go. And as we slowly open our eyes, as I welcome you back in this room, right within our very own center. Welcome back.
So if it's comfortable for you, please just close your eyes. And just for a moment, allow me to speak in the first person for you. On this beautiful Sunday morning, I can feel the presence of God. And I know that God is an energy, an essence, a divine flow that moves through everyone. There's a goodness, a sweetness, and I recognize that that is God too. God is the light that shows the way. And God is the master of compassion that is restoring our planet and bringing peace and calmness to our waters. I'm so blessed that God and I are one. And that this is not just my truth, but it's true for each and every person that's here in this sanctuary. I know that the message that's delivered today by Reverend STACI resonates with everyone here and touches everyone in a very unique way. Our very own Jesse speaks to us today from his heart. And each person that listens is able to walk away with a new and better understanding of our world and how our world works. This is a perfect day, because this is the day that God has made. And on this perfect day, I can see clearly that I am peace. I am the change that I want to see in the world. I am each day helping to make this a world that works for everyone. So on this perfect day, I say, thank you, God. Thank you for our ministers who always encourage us to tap in and realize our own magnificence. My heart overflows with gratitude for the ministry of prayer team, always there, praying without ceasing. I'm so grateful for our musicians and our volunteers, not just on Sunday, but every single day, working to make this center what it is today. And I'm so grateful that this is my spiritual home that just allows me to be me. I'm excited about our service today, so let's get started. I release my word into the Lord, knowing that God's perfect work is being done, and we all can say now, and so it is.
Morning, everybody. Morning. All right. Mexican Independence Day. Well, what exactly is it? You'd probably think instead of celebrating on the 4th of July, we celebrate on September 16th. And instead of eating hot dogs and hamburgers, we eat tacos and burritos. Well, let me tell you something. You're mostly right. Because Mexican Independence Day is a major Mexican celebration celebrated each year with fiestas, and you guessed it, tacos and burritos. Although it is traditional to eat chiles en hogadas, which is a meal made from stuffed poblano peppers and stuffed with walnut sauce. Delicious. All right. In the opening paragraph of the Declaration of Independence for the United States, it states, quote, "When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, a decent respect for the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the cause of which impelled them to the separation. These very same words can be used to describe the great event in Mexican history of Mexico's independence from Spain." This occurred not on Cinco de Mayo, which a lot of people like to get confused. They're two completely different things, right? Mexico celebrates the 5th of May to commemorate the victory of the Mexican army over the occupying army of France in Puebla of May of 1862. But no, the celebration of Mexican Independence Day, however, dates back way further to the year of 1810. Mexican Independence Day is referred to as El Grito de la Independencia, in Spanish, which translates to the cry of independence. It was named for the cry of a Roman Catholic priest named Father Miguel Hidalgo, who led the revolt from Spain. You see, Spain was originally conquered Mexico in 1500, and many of the Mayans and Aztecs were forced into slavery. Mexico was also officially known as La Nueva España, the most important Spanish colony of the New World. We skip ahead a few hundred years, and we can see the occupation of a strong European forces starting to fall. The military ambitions of Napoleon had severely disrupted the political situation in Europe and the new Spanish Empire. Napoleon's revolution has also posed a very real threat to the cherished treasures of the people of the new nation, a highly developed culture of almost 3 centuries and new Catholic religion. Napoleon's threat to the Mexican culture united 2 major groups in New Spain, the Criollos, and the descendants of Spaniards born in Mexico, and the Mestizos, a mix of both Spaniards and native Mexicans. To protect these cherished values, Los Insurgentes, a movement to make Mexico a sovereign nation, arose in Querétaro. One of the leaders of the militia was Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, a pastor of a nearby parish of Dolores. When he learned on September 15, 1810, that Querétaro had a conspiracy had been discovered by the Spanish authorities, he had no choice but to move up the rebellion. The people desired to gain the privilege of free speech and wished to have a government that represented them. Many revolts were planned against the Spaniards, but most were discovered by the rebels, and they were punished. Father Hidalgo led a rally against the Spanish government, but the government found out and ordered to have them arrested. The original date for the rebellion was October 2nd, but Father Hidalgo had been discovered and the date had to be moved up. On the night of September 15th, the night that Hidalgo was charged to be arrested, the evening before the independence was actually won. The next day, September 16th, the peasants from the surrounding area also responded to the ringing of the church bell. They gathered in the courtyard of the church, where Father Hidalgo inspired them with a fiery cry, "Long live religion! Long live Our Lady Guadalupe! Long live the Americas, and death to the corrupt government!" This was the famous grito which triggered the long struggle for independence. The cry of independence is repeated again and again every year in Mexico from the balcony of the national place in Mexico by the President of Mexico, and it is echoed by the governor of each state throughout the country. Father Hidalgo called his congregation together in Dolores and Mexico and cried out in a impassioned speech, now referred to as El Grito de Dolores. On this day, banks, schools, government offices, and a lot of businesses are closed out of respect. Most Mexicans are entitled to a day off work to celebrate, and each year Mexican town mayors and politicians reenact the famous speech given by Father Hidalgo. The actual speech is not very long. It goes a little something like this. Mexicanos, vivan los héroes que nos dieron patria. Viva Hidalgo, viva Morelos, viva Josefe Ortiz de Domínguez, viva Allende, viva Aldama y Matromos. Viva la independencia nacional, Viva Mexico, Viva Mexico, Viva Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldo. Beautiful centering. Juanita, beautiful prayer. And Jesse, I call you little Mario Lopez. You are just the most adorable thing. Just such an intelligent and just a loving soul. So we're creating a world that works for everyone. We talk about diversity and things that we don't know about different people's backgrounds and cultures and things. So that's why we had Jesse talk about Mexican Independence Day. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Grandparents' Day. Any grandparents out here? I know there's some of you. Thank you for being you, Grandma. Our theme this month is community service. Talk title today is Coming from the Heart. And I know all of you that know me were very surprised when you saw that I was speaking, coming from the heart. Right? So this month, well actually, let me start off by saying thank you so much for all the birthday wishes and the cards and the presents and the well wishes. I so appreciate it. And Reverend CHERYL last week had implemented the Random Act of Kindness Challenge. And we talked about that a little bit. Anybody participating in that? Some of you saw it on Facebook, yeah? Anybody want to share anything? Anybody? Yes?
When I was walking home a few nights ago, there was a dumpster fire in the neighbor's yard near my house, and I woke them up in the middle of the night and I put out.
Anybody else have some good stuff? I was posting then, I thought, this sounds a little ego-driven, so I stopped posting, but I'm still doing them every day. Some days are just more about me being kind to myself, and that's a good thing too. Somebody's back there with their hand up.
It was raining the other day, as we know, and I left the grocery store and there was a woman walking with her groceries, and I asked her if she wanted a ride.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you. Reverend Cheryl, I know you had something. Yeah.
Well, I haven't done it yet, because I know.
I guess that counts. It's the thought that counts, right?
I said my random act of kindness is very intentional, so it's not so random. But there's a senior citizen home on the east side that my mom and Jean Johnson, if you remember, used to go get their hair done. There was a woman there as her service to that center, and those elderly folks would like do the women's hair for like $10, and she would let some outsiders come, and so I was going to take her some flowers, but she had the nerve to go on vacation the last couple of weeks. And actually, because it's a secure building, so once we get in, I'm sure they'll let us in, but I'll have to coax and pray and all that stuff, but they'll let us in, and my niece and I were going to put flowers on the people who live there, their door, because they have like the latch doors, so you can set a flower in there or something. Very cool. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Well, yeah, that person that does, speaking as a black woman, I can say this, to do someone's hair for $10, I mean, that's a, I mean, talk about community service, geez. Yes, Virginia.
I have been doing this for a long time, so what I've had to do is just step it up even more.
Okay.
Do even more, and just different things. Maybe when they go to the store, somebody that has a cane, pulling a cart out for them, and then when you put it lining them up, and people just leave them all over the place, and the wind blowing, and it blows cars, just helping people at the grocery store, just all kinds of different things. So I just really had to step up what I was already doing.
Perfect.
And giving flowers.
Yes, perfect. Of course. I love that. It's so joyful to do something for someone, and of course you get something back from it, but that's not why you do it, right? You do it just because you feel like either they need it, or you just feel like it should be done. And why not you? Oh, so, coming from the heart. Our suggested science in my point of view is we are all part of the great whole called God, a unity. Everything we do impacts the whole, and what happens to the whole happens to us. Thus, we have a logical obligation to give the best we have to the whole, which improves our individual lives as well. As you give, it is given unto you. Which reminded me, which is always strange when I get reminded of a Bible story. Those of you that don't know, I'm raised in religious science, so not much of the Bible girl. But it did remind me of this. Luke 10. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" He replied. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord, your God, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as well." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this, and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took out denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. "Look after him," he said, "and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have." Which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert in law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise." Russell.
Saying Katrina didn't touch this. You can't find your family, you have no home to go back to. What have you been doing?
I've been camping out, trying to get cell service, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
Just lost everything I worked for. Everything.
My dad, there's no telling where my dad's at. I'm here in Rockport waiting on me. Okay, Dad, I'm gonna jump on the bus. I'll be there. Are you okay? Yeah, I'll jump on board.
According to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, more than 450,000 people are likely to seek federal aid in recovering from Harvey, with an estimated 30,000 people seeking emergency shelter. In many ways, Houston looks like an inland sea dotted by islands, with water covering not only roads and vehicles, but entire buildings and bridges.
Houston is a city in crisis, and now a city of islands. The floodwaters isolating sections like you see behind me.
The death toll is currently at 10, and as the search and rescues continue, this figure will climb, considering that by most measures, Harvey is the worst flooding event in U.S. history. It goes without saying that first responders have shown themselves to be truly fearless and relentless in their attempts to save those in harm's way.
Says 120 emergency personnel from New York City are being sent to Texas to help in the aftermath.
Dozens of firefighters and police officers specially trained for disasters like this packed their bags for Texas this morning.
Colorado Task Force 1. For now, 45 people. In that group are 8 from Colorado Springs Fire and 1 from Pueblo Fire.
We have deployed all our police officers and essential personnel on 12-hour shifts.
But something curious about all of this is that out of the hundreds upon hundreds of people in boats and trucks who were out helping others, many of them were simply neighbors who chose to help just because.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna try to save some lives. Yeah?
Social media was filled with posts of encouragement and positivity, with many even opening up their homes to those who were underwater. There is no doubt that Texas and Louisiana have taken a serious hit, and we know that the future will forever be changed in the minds of millions of our citizens. Those who have lost loved ones, those who have yet to be reunited with their families, will need our help as we navigate this chaos together. And I'm under no illusions about the multiple broken hearts and grief that lie ahead of us. But even though that is so, it is impossible to ignore all of the good that has come from Hurricane Harvey. I dare you to even try to ignore it.
Thank you, Russell. And so that idea has crossed my mind, as I'm sure it's crossed many of your minds. Because if we see hurricane after hurricane after hurricane seemingly, and we see fires and floods all over, what's going on? What's going on? And yet there is this sense of kindness that comes out of it, which is the good stuff. And so something is good coming out of it. And when I think about the hurricanes and how they're swirling and swirling and swirling, it seems to me very, what's the word? It is a reflection certainly of my mind. The thoughts, the race consciousness of all that's going on, the confusion, the swirling, the swirling, the swirling. And yet if I focus on the eye of the hurricane, that's where the peace is. That's where God is in it. That's where the peace is. That's where the truth is. That's the eye of the storm. So instead of focusing on those thoughts that keep swirling, I'm going to keep focusing on the eye of that, the heart of the storm, if you could say. We've got fires, anger. That's what it reminds me of, right? All of this stuff that's coming up, this outpouring of anger, of unhappiness, of untruth that's flooding our communities. Just a thought. I don't know that that's the answer. Metaphysically, that would make sense. It could be just that something good's coming out of it. But it's certainly something to look at, isn't it? And what part are you playing in that? Where are your thoughts heading? What are you looking at? Are you focusing on the peace and the calm and the kindness? Or are you focusing somewhere else? It's a quote from 365 Science of Mind. Real giving is the art of transmitting ourselves to others and to the conditions and situations that surround us. This kind of giving is not something for special occasions only, for it should become a habit growing out of our desire to live life to the fullest extent. Only that which becomes an inward habit of thought can spontaneously flow from the heart and transmit itself to everything we touch. Just as life belongs to the one who lives it, to the one who takes it, so the fuller life belongs only to the one who scatters every good he has. It is giving of oneself to every person, every project, and every association with zest, love, and friendliness that one sees the larger possibility in all things. Beauty instead of ugliness, love instead of hate, the divine hidden within the human. That's what we do here. Many of you have seen many times this week. many times this week, and I love it. Friday night we had a fundraiser for our teens, sitting back there, right? At least two of them. Megan's not here today. But this service, how you guys came up and you stepped up, and how many of us were here? 20 something on Friday night?
30.
30 people Friday night. I was going to actually make the spaghetti myself, and then I saw that there was 30 people. I'm like, I might as well just buy it. But that love and that givingness that we all have with one another is just such a wonderful feeling. I mean, you just left here on Friday night with such a high. So thank you all for those that participated in that. So we gave to ourselves and our teens on Friday night, and then Saturday, Reverend Cheryl was going to spoil it for me. Saturday we did this thing called World Day of Service, which we've been doing for 4 years now. And there was almost 30 of us. And we went to Lake Mead and, I don't know, past Los Feliz, or right there, where it's right off the mountain, and there's glass and trash and stuff everywhere. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Those of you that participate in World Day of Service, would you stand up for a minute? Just so we can acknowledge you. And so we cleaned up trash. And we did it with love and joy and light. Is it our community? No, but yeah, it's our community. Right? We live here. And so we give our gifts where we can. It was an amazing day. Reverend Dan started us off with breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. Jeez. And breakfast for all of these people. And it was absolutely wonderful. So thank you, Reverend Dan. Marlene, you beat me so much there too. But it's about who we are right here, and now we're moving ourselves out into a community and giving this lovingness that we give to one another and expanding it out. It was 2 hours.
Can I add something, Stace?
Of course.
While cleaning, cars were coming by and stopping and asking how they could help. It's contagious.
It's contagious. It's like a smile or a yawn. No yawning, just smile. Yes.
Yeah, we go out to Lake Mead almost every weekend. We were going out there Friday, and we saw somebody dumping stuff out of their trunk.
Oh my God.
It's bad out there, so I'm glad you guys went.
Yeah. So we serve in many ways here. You know, that was just one brief thing that we did and came together as a community to do, and there will be lots more. Came together for Kenya and had the book drive. We do the Casa Kids for Christmas, and we've been doing that for years. Foster Kinship, which we're going to be doing some more stuff with them very soon, again. And so if there's something on your hearts that you really want to see done, please approach one of us about that. Because I love that the World Day of Service, I love that we have that and we do it once a year. But I think that we could do so much more. We could do so much more. You know, as I say, where 2 or more are gathered. First of all, where 2 or more are gathered in this church is going to be fun. There's going to be wine. That's the second thing. There's going to be food. So let's just think about how we can serve one another. You know, thank God we're not in a situation where we are experiencing a hurricane or a natural disaster right now. But if perhaps, going back to what I suggested or had been thinking about, if those fires, floods, and earthquakes and hurricanes are because of our thoughts, I don't see that calming down anytime in the near future necessarily. I'm doing my best to pray without ceasing. But we may see a little bit more. We may see a little bit more. If you have someone in Florida right now, or Puerto Rico, or any of those places, and please put their names in our prayer box and let our ministry of prayer team pray for them. Science in Mind textbook written by Dr. Holmes, the founder of this teaching. Of course, oh yeah, here it is. Dr. Holmes writes about physical perfection. On page 238, talks about the heart. The heart is the center of divine love and perfect circulation. Its action is harmonious, vital, adequate, and complete. There is no false action and no wrong action. The pulsations of life are steady, unceasing, and perfect. Let not your heart be troubled. Love is at the center of man's being and woman's being, and the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by love. Solomon is accredited with many words of wisdom, none of which are more appropriate just here than his admonition, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. In the days when we had no knowledge of whether the emotions should be expressed, repressed, or suppressed, the reference to the heart was hardly as significant as it is today. Now, in the light of experience, there is no question but that anything that touches the sympathetic nature of man has within it the power to build up or destroy the physical body of man. Take care of your hearts. It's the best part of who each of us are. I have an affirmation for us today. Want to say it with me?
Sure.
Today I live my life in service to the whole. In this way, I live the fullest life possible. Life is good. And so are you. I love you. If you all would join hands and connect. Please stay and connect. And if you would just close your eyes for a moment and breathe in that love and that energy of the divine. And so right here and right now, what I know to be true is that this thing called this Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living has its own hurricane going. And we're spreading peace, we're spreading love, we're spreading light, we're spreading joy. Hurricane Lvcsl is on its way. On its way to fall into more love and more light and more joy. We spread it to each and every person that meets each of us. We do it with ease and grace and kindness. Oh, and it's such a beautiful, wonderful feeling to know that we have that power. And we're free to use it anytime. And so I just am so grateful for everything that happens this week. And I focused on the eye and the heart of the storm, because it is always calm and always peace there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I release, I let go. knowing that this is so. And together we say,
And so it is.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, the wounds are healed. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
So repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know this in my mind.
I know this in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
I am a hurricane of positivity and love.
I am a hurricane of positivity and love.
And so it is.
And so